losing the game in penalties. And the PGA Tour from the Barbasol Championship begins today.
WSIC weather, mostly sunny today with a high of 92. Tonight, cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms and low around 72. Friday, more afternoon showers, partly sunny with a high near 90. Mike Jackson, WSIC News.
All right, we are back here, WSIC. This is the Scoreboard, and I'm your host, as always, Joe Berg. Thanks for listening today. We are on 105.9, 100.7, and you might be watching on Facebook or YouTube. We do have a few things that we have to get to today. Last night was the ESPY Awards. Team USA played. We have some sound from NASCAR drivers before the race at New Hampshire this week. So we definitely have quite a bit to get into, and we're going to start with the biggest event from last night. I know what you're thinking. Is it a sporting event? No, it was not a sporting event. We had the ESPYs last night, and it's always a great show that ESPN and ABC put on, honoring some of the best players, some of the best teams in all sports, men's, women's, record-breaking players. They honored LeBron James for passing Kareem in the NBA scoring record. Caleb Williams was the best college athlete for the men's sports. So there was quite a bit going on last night. But the biggest thing from last night was the Pat Tillman Award for Service. That award was given to the entire Buffalo Bills training staff, presented by Damar Hamlin. Now, if we remember, last season, right before the playoffs, Damar Hamlin was hit by a Cincinnati player right in the chest, and he went into a cardiac arrest on the field. And the training staff provided CPR to him and revived him, and Damar Hamlin is well, and he's with the Bills training staff now. He's with the Bills team, so the training staff did their job. They kept him alive, and well, it was a very emotional start to the speech. I'm going to let you hear what it sounded like yesterday, because when Damar Hamlin came out onto the stage, it was only a standing ovation that could be had. Nobody else had a dry eye in the stands at all. Without any further ado, here is Damar Hamlin entering the stage last night.
Please welcome this year's recipient of the Pat Tillman Award for Service, the training staff of the Buffalo Bills.
And that is how the award was given out last night. They had Damar Hamlin out on the stage. That was a long ovation for Damar, and it was well-deserved. It probably should have been longer, but you don't want the guy just crying on stage and not embarrassing himself, because it's absolutely not embarrassing what's going on, but you just don't want to leave him out there by himself crying because of obviously the situation that he found himself in in January, and it was right after the new year. We started a new year. It was a nationally televised game. Damar Hamlin making a routine tackle, and next thing we know, he doesn't get up for a minute. And I don't think this was the most profound moment of giving out this award, the Pat Tillman Award, because the Bills training staff did actually speak a little bit. So I want to play for you probably the best clip that they could have possibly had during this, because there was so much emotion and they used this time for such a great cause.
Lastly, this story is about a lot of things, but to us, it's about raising an awareness of cardiac events, which happen every day in so many different places. Please support funding for AED and CPR training, especially in underserved communities, as well as the need for athletic trainers in youth sports. If there is one thing we hope you take away from this tonight, learn CPR and how to use an AED, because they save lives. Set a goal for yourself. Do it this summer before football season. You don't have to be perfect. We always say, doing something is better than doing nothing.
And that is what the Bills training staff had to say in regards to Damar Hamlin's situation. And it just brought back a whole bunch of memories and thoughts and feelings that we all had during that game. I don't like thinking about it that much, because we were all watching a nationally televised game that ESPN was putting on. It's on national TV, everybody's watching, and then all of a sudden you see a player on the field not getting up, and it looks normal. You know, we see injuries all the time, and then all of a sudden they're going to commercial, they're coming back from commercial, they're going right back to commercial. Joe Buck won't give us very much information. The body language of the players is very weird. They're crowding around him. And then we got that devastating news from Joe Buck that they had been administering CPR for at least 9 minutes before it was officially announced. And I don't want to talk about this too much, this being what I'm about to say. The way the NFL handled this could have been a lot better. In the moment, even looking back at it now, it could have been handled a lot better, because as fans, we were in the dark for over an hour on what was going on. I didn't think they were going to play. I didn't think there was any way that they could play. But the NFL wasn't saying anything, and then Joe Buck comes back from commercial and says, hey, they were just told to warm up on the sidelines because we might get going again. I hope this was a learning experience for the NFL, because there's no excuse for how long it took for the general public to be aware of whether or not the game was going to continue. So it was just a very nice moment, and there was, like I said, not a dry eye in the building at that point. I was very upset. I was watching it, and I was sobbing. It was very emotional, just seeing Damar Hamlin standing, looking healthy. He's practicing. He's at OTAs. He's going to be at training camp. He's going to play this year. And it's just an absolute miracle that nothing final happened to him out on the field on that January. But we're coming up on the first break here. I want to talk more about the ESPYs when we return, because we have a sound clip from LeBron James. We got to hear from LeBron James. And I was thinking about this today. How is it that I've gone over a week doing a sports show and we haven't talked about LeBron yet? Isn't that like the cardinal sin of sports radio, is not talking about LeBron James? So we're finally going to talk about LeBron James when we come back. Don't worry, it's going to be quick, I promise, but I do want to bring it up. So thank you for listening to the Scoreboard. We will be right back here on WSIC.
the issues that face your community. WSIC is your source for news, talk, now.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Christmas in July is coming to downtown Mooresville. The Mooresville Downtown Commission is hosting their annual July Sales and Sip and Shop event in downtown Mooresville on July 21st. For more info, visit downtownmooresville.com. Want to meet the Iredell County Animal Service crew? Iredell County Public Library's Harmony location is hosting an Iredell County Animal Service visit July 14th from 4 to 5 in the evening. No registration is required. For more info, visit iredell.lib.nc.us. That's the Iredell County Library website. Do you enjoy making pottery? Kane Center for the Arts in Cornelius has Ceramics Open Studio. Select Tuesdays and Saturdays, you can become the clay artist you were always meant to be. You must register in person. For the full schedule, visit kanearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. The Wild Goose Festival is coming to the Van Hoy Campground in Union Grove July 13th through the 16th. This festival is for all the music and art lovers of the area. For more info, including the full lineup, visit wildgoosefestival.org. Love beach music? The Catalinas are playing in Huntersville on Thursday as part of Huntersville's La La Cabusa series. Bring your own chair or blanket for seating. There will be a food truck and beverage vendors on site. Thursday from 6 to 9 p.m. at Veterans Park in Huntersville, the Catalinas. Have an event you would like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
I'm Dan Sutton with your WSIC forecast. For tonight, we'll have a 40% chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms with a low around 72 and southwest winds around 7 miles per hour. New rainfall amounts between 1/10 and 1/4 of an inch, except higher amounts possible in thunderstorms. Friday, we'll have a 60% chance of showers and thunderstorms, mainly after 5 p.m., with a high near 90 and south winds around 7 miles per hour.
Breaking news, expert analysis, and the stories that matter most, all in one place.
I totally acknowledge seeing flames is a scary situation.
WSIC, News, Talk, Now. News Talk WSIC, Statesville, Lake Norman's most trusted news source.
All right, welcome back to the Scoreboard here on WSIC. If you would like to call in, we always welcome phone calls. I don't know if anybody was aware of that, but I like talking to people. So if you have something you want to say, give us a call, 704-873-1400, because we are talking about sports, everything about sports. We're talking all kinds of sports. Today, we're talking ESPYs. We were talking about the ESPYs when we went to break, and now we're going to bring up the next part because we had a clip from none other than
LeBron James, LeBron James, LeBron James, LeBron James, LeBron James.
LeBron James has something to say. And when doesn't LeBron have something to say? Let's be honest. But anyway, he was at the ESPYs. He was receiving the award for beating Wilt Chamberlain's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's all-time NBA scoring record. And if we remember the NBA Finals or NBA semifinals, wherever the Lakers were at, once LeBron and the Lakers got eliminated, in the postgame, LeBron mentioned that he has to take some time to think about his future and whether or not he'll be back. Now, he didn't say it like that. I'm poorly paraphrasing it, but basically was saying and trying to give some headlines, I guess, for him contemplating retirement, which I don't know if I really thought he was going to retire, but here's what LeBron had to say last night at the ESPYs.
When the season ended, I said I wasn't sure if I was going to keep playing. And I know a lot of experts told you guys what I said, but I'm here now speaking for myself. In that moment, I'm asking myself if I can still play. without cheating the game? Can I give everything to the game still? Truth is, I've been asking myself this question at the end of the season for a couple years now. I just never openly talked about it. I don't care how many more points I score or what I can or cannot do on the floor. The real question for me is, can I play without cheating this game? The day I can't give the game everything on the floor is the day I'll be done. Lucky for you guys, that day is not today.
I thought that was a pretty interesting way to say, hey, I'm not going to retire yet. I mean, he dragged it out for a little bit. There was about, 2 seconds within that speech. For about 2 seconds, I went, oh my God, he's going to retire. This is it. We're about to hear LeBron James retire from basketball for 20 years. 20 years. He was drafted in 2003. So for 20 years, we've been watching LeBron James dominate the NBA. I'm 26. He was dominating the NBA when I was barely able to understand what a basketball was. I guess that's not 6 years old. I don't know. I'm bad with young ages. They know things when they know things. But anyway, LeBron not retiring, probably going to be back with the Lakers. And what's even more interesting is we're getting awfully close to that crossover that we've been not fearing, not being excited about, but just waiting for something to happen. And that's Bronny James, LeBron's son, the oldest son, becoming eligible for the NBA draft. He's going to USC next year. Maybe after 1 year at USC, he decides, you know what? And that's not USC South Carolina. That's USC Southern California, the real USC. Call me if you're mad at that one. But yes, USC, Southern California, Bronny will be playing, and I'm curious if he decides to come out of the draft or come out of college into the draft after 1 year, because it seems like in the NBA at least, if you're waiting more than 1 year, you're going to have a really good college career, but you're not going to really turn into anything in the pros. And it's something that Bronny's going to have to consider. And once he does get drafted, I believe I saw a mock draft for 2 years, whenever he's eligible, where they said Bronny would be taken at like 17 to the Hawks, Atlanta. That's what it was. And LeBron tweeted something out about it like, all right, Atlanta. Do we think LeBron James would leave LA to go to Atlanta to play with Bronny? I don't think so. Why would you leave LA for Atlanta? I mean, it'd be nice to be with, your son playing basketball when you're still, and now I don't know about in 2 years from now, but he'll still probably be one of the best players in basketball, if not the best. He definitely wasn't the best this year. And that would be, considering the best NBA player award at the ESPYs went to Nikola Jokic, I'm going to say that LeBron isn't the best anymore, but he's definitely still up there. So I just wonder if, for some reason, let's say Bronny gets drafted by the Magic. Would LeBron go to Orlando? Because he's been saying for the past few years that he would love to play with Bronny once he's in the NBA. I'm sure everybody who had a son who played in the NBA as well as you would have liked to play with them, but it might not happen, especially if he's in somewhere like Orlando or I don't know. What if he comes to Charlotte? Is LeBron James going to come to Charlotte to play for the Hornets? Maybe he will now because Jordan doesn't own the team anymore. But I don't know. I'm just curious, where would he be willing to go? Because LeBron's not going to go to a team that's going to be, small market team. I can't see him going to the Minnesota Timberwolves anytime soon, even if Bronny is there. But that's just some of the things that I find interesting. Wrapping up some of the SB talk here, as we talked about in the first segment, the Buffalo Bills training staff getting the Pat Tillman Award for service, a very, very emotional moment during the ESPYs. The Best Soccer Player Award went to Lionel Messi for winning the World Cup with Argentina. he's going to be in the U.S. We talked about that a little bit. He'll be playing Charlotte FC. So that'll be nice to see the best soccer player in the world playing in America. And one thing about the ESPYs that I always find funny is when they get to the sports that ESPN doesn't care about. Now, I'm sure that's not what you guys think, but I really don't think ESPN cares about the NHL, because for the past 4 years, the best NHL player at the ESPY Awards has been Connor McDavid. And if you're watching on stream right now, you're probably wondering, what in the world is he doing? We've been talking about this for 2 weeks now. For some reason, this thermostat right here, every day, it wants to turn itself to 78 degrees. And I'm not kidding about that. It says 78 right now. It was 73 when I got in here. So, Justin, if you're watching and it's you, I'm sure it's you. Stop trying to sweat me out of this place. It is hot in here. I was thinking before my show, I was like, you know what? I might need to go get a sweatshirt because it is hot, or it is cold in this studio. And now I don't know what to do. I need a fan blowing on me or something because it is hot. It got hot in here fast. And it's hot outside too. I mean, it's 90s and muggy and nasty, and you know that North Carolina weather, how there's always that afternoon threat of a pop-up thunderstorm. It's hot in here, man. Oh, sorry, I lost my train of thought there, but I just realized how hot it is in here, and I look over and lo and behold, the thermostat's at 78 degrees. So we're going to continue with the sports because that's important, but we're back to the NHL and ESPN not caring about it. I feel like this is the obvious decision. The best NHL player award at the ESPYs went to Connor McDavid of the Edmonton Oilers, who is widely regarded as the best player in hockey. And I mean, he is. He scored 150 points this year. That hasn't happened since the 90s. Brought his team to the playoffs. You know, it's still not an individual sport, so he didn't do well in the playoffs, but I just want to know, were there any other real considerations for the best NHL player for the past few years? Because if you slightly keep up with the NHL, you know who Connor McDavid is, because people are always saying he is the best player in hockey. Well, who else could win that ESPY? Nobody's going to beat out Connor McDavid every single year. It's kind of like 10 years ago, if you were to do, hey, who should the MVP of the NBA be? Well, the most valuable player is always going to be LeBron in that time frame. It is LeBron. LeBron was the most important player to the Cavs, to the Heat, now to the Lakers. But are you going to give him the award every year? No. That's what I feel like ESPN's doing with the NHL at the ESPYs. They say, who's the best NHL player? It's Connor McDavid. Go. Connor McDavid, best NHL player, whatever. But I mean, it's interesting because I really hope that ESPN figures it out and starts giving the NHL a little bit more respect than what they've been giving them, because it is not great. Ever since ESPN took over hockey to be the broadcasters, took it away from NBC when NBC Sports closed, it's been a struggle. A couple of more awards before we hit the break here. The best comeback player of the year was Jamal Murray. If we remember, he had that injury last year, came back. Best breakthrough athlete was Angel Reese with the LSU Tigers, the women's basketball team. And the best college female athlete was Caitlin Clark of Iowa. I wanted to mention those two specifically because LSU and Iowa gave us one heck of a March Madness finals in the women's bracket. And the best part is, it's not the NBA, it's the WNBA, and there's different rules. So Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark both will be back in college next year. I'd love to see a rematch, maybe if not in the championship, somewhere later in the year, like Elite Eight, Final Four, somewhere around there. But When we come back on the other side of the break, we'll have some more information for you, some MLB talk, some NASCAR talk, so stay tuned here on WSIC, The Scoreboard.
Local news and weather now on the new 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. News, talk, now.
I'm Mike Jackson, WSIC News. Cornelius Today reporting that Cornelius resident Robert Carney, an 8-year resident of Cornelius, will run for the Cornelius Board of Commissioners. The former executive director of both the Mooresville South Iredell Economic Development Corporation and the Cabarrus County Economic Development Corporation plans to make growth management and transportation the central issues of his campaign. And Charlotte Stories reporting that residents and tourists along the Grand Strand of Myrtle Beach are currently experiencing something out of the ordinary. Normally at this time of the year, tropical storms and hurricanes have turned the waters into a dark brown color due to the churned up sediment and pollution floating closer to the surface. But currently the ocean has turned a tropical shade of blue, sparking a flurry of social media posts and discussions. Experts say the blue hue is actually the ocean's natural color, as explained by research from the Scripps Institution of Oceanography. WSIC weather calling for mostly cloudy skies overnight, a 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms with a low around 72, a 60% chance of showers and thunderstorms for Friday, mainly after 5 p.m., the high near 90. With the heat index, though, it could feel as high as 101. Mike Jackson, WSIC News.
When you can find everything you need at prices you can afford, that's totally Target. It's that feeling when quality Good and Gather ingredients on the barbecue bring family around the table. Or when favorite day after practice snacks let you celebrate the whole team for less. It's when saving more on Up and Up sunscreen means more fun in the sun. And when Target Circle Rewards program gives you more perks on what you buy most and is always free to join, that's totally Target.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you ordered a new air filter for your car. You try to install it, but it doesn't fit. So you take a little bit off the sides. What, still doesn't fit? Well, you could try to sit on it. Or get it right the first time with eBay Guaranteed Fit. When you see the check, you know that part's gonna fit. Air filters, brakes, headlights, over 122 million parts. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors, let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Folks, you know Randy Marion sells vehicles the King of Price way, but did you know our service department? We service vehicles the King of Price way. We sell tires, we sell brakes, we sell batteries, we sell the maintenance. We help you keep your vehicle on the road safe, ready to drive, whatever the season is. Randy Marion service departments have you covered. Come see us today because, folks, again, you know we sell the King of Price way and we do service the King of Price way.
King of Price, RandyMarionStatesville.com.
We at North Main Financial Group really appreciate the relationship that we have with WSIC. It's been fun not only to do the radio show, but to see the effects of the radio show when we're interacting with our clients and with prospective clients. So a couple of big points that have really stood out for us. First, our clients, generally speaking, when we're talking about the investment and financial services universe, really like to listen to radio. And with the place that WSIC has in the community, it's a no-brainer to use them as a partner. The second big thing is we really like to be able to leverage our radio show into our other online platforms, meaning whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, we really enjoy being able to use the radio program as a way to amplify that outreach to our folks. And the last one, a big one, and we know that this is certainly true for WSIC and certainly it is true for us here at North Main Financial Group, and that's investment in the community. WSIC has literally been invested over the course of several decades, and while we just have a couple of decades here at North Main Financial Group, we both consider it very, very important to be invested and committed to our Lake Norman community.
Black Powder Coffee is joining Mooresville's 150th anniversary celebration with a special coffee blend just for the occasion. Introducing Black Powder's 1873 blend. It's bold and strong with caramel notes and a bright ending. A portion of all proceeds is being donated to the Mooresville Museum to help continue documenting the history of the town. Black Powder Coffee, 261 Rolling Hill Road in Mooresville, or online at blackpowdercoffee.com.
The Statesville Family YMCA is gearing up for pickleball. Come enjoy this popular game weekdays from 9 to 11 a.m. If the weather is too bad for kids attending summer camp to be outside, pickleball will be canceled. The Statesville Family YMCA, 828 Wesley Avenue.
It's always great to have the right tools and supplies when working outside. Little Shavers Woodshop is ready to help. Little Shavers has all your wood, treated lumber, wood fencing, and all the treatment items to keep them looking great. PVG paints and stains, and add in some pine needles and Daddy Pete's mulch and soils, and your landscaping will be the best around. Head on over to Little Shavers, 3301 Salisbury Highway, right in between Statesville, Morrisville, and Moxville. Visit littleshaverswoodshop.com. That's LILShaverswoodshop.com.
Join me, Darren Streblow, for the Darren Streblow Comedy Show, Sundays at 6 p.m.
Welcome back to the Scoreboard here on WSIC. If you would like to call in, be a part of the show, 704-873-1400. We fixed the studio. I just want to point that out. It is cooling down in here finally. It is no longer 78 degrees. I feel like I can breathe again. It's very nice. I don't know. We're going to have to find out who's pranking me in this studio whenever I start my show at 6 o'clock from 6 to 7. Every day. It's every day. I look over at one point and it says 72, 73. And then the next minute I look over and it says 78. And I can't exist in a room that's 78 degrees. It's just not nice. And that's all I'm going to say about that for the rest of the day. All right, sports. Yeah, we had sports last night. What sports, might you ask? Everybody's out of season. I know. But we had Team USA. Woo! And we have a phone call. Double woo! So we're going to hold up on the Team USA talk against Panama. We'll go ahead and take this phone call. Thanks for calling the Scoreboard. What's your name? What do you got for me today?
Hi, Joe. It's Andrew. I got a quick question, more motorsport related. I want to know your thoughts on Ricciardo coming back, Nick getting sacked in less than half the season, and then if you have time, your thoughts about the SRX season starting up tonight on ESPN.
Yeah, I did see that. Daniel Ricciardo, former Red Bull driver, now back in Formula One, going to AlphaTauri, replacing Nick DeVries, the rookie. He was a rookie this year and didn't last more than 10 races. So it's really interesting to me that because in this area, in the North Carolina Mooresville area, we are Race City, USA. Everybody here knows that.
Yeah.
But we're NASCAR people over here. So a driver being replaced in the middle of the season is slightly unheard of. But in Formula One, it happens. And I've been watching Formula One for the past few years when Ricciardo was not doing as great as he was originally. But the personality that Ricciardo is a major plus for Formula One. And I really don't think that the average Formula One fan even cares or knows who Nick DeVries is. They just know, hey, Daniel Ricciardo, that's the Australian guy who has a personality that's just over the moon. I think it's a good thing for Formula One. I don't know what Nick DeVries is going to do. I kind of feel bad for him. But the more important thing about this is I wonder what Sergio Perez, the Red Bull driver behind Max Verstappen, I wonder what he's thinking, because AlphaTauri and Red Bull, they do have that alliance where, it's kind of like their training program almost. So I'm a little more curious to see what next year holds, rather than the rest of this season, because the rest of this season, I mean, who cares? Max Verstappen's going to win the championship. He never loses anymore. It's kind of boring. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens for the remainder of the year going into next year. And what was the second part? You said the XRX season?
Yeah, SRX season starting up tonight. I know they got a new broadcast deal, I believe, with ESPN doing the broadcasting, which I was just, if you have any thoughts or anything about that.
So I watched a little bit of it last year, and I believe this is going to be the second year, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I believe this is. So I watched a little bit for the first year, and it was a cool event to watch. It's short. I think it's only 6 races that they do in the season. A lot of celebrity drivers come out. Tony Stewart obviously will be driving. He's the one who started the whole thing. But I think if they start to become more and more popular, like let's say their ratings this year are just through the roof, more than they would have expected, more than double last year, I would be curious to see if NASCAR would think of partnering with them almost in a way where they used to do the IROC cars in NASCAR. I think that would be something that can not only add a little bit of spice to the NASCAR season, but help other motorsports. You know, these short tracks, local short tracks are in trouble in the USA. I think if NASCAR partners, if they are having success, it could be a real positive for both SRX and NASCAR. But I'm going to be checking it out tonight. I know that it's going to be just a ball, and they try to have as much fun with it as possible, which I think is always a positive when you kind of get a little less serious and more of just like, hey, let's go out there and have fun. It's always a good thing to watch. But hey, I appreciate the call today. And what was that?
I was just saying, of course.
Oh yeah, no problem. Well, thank you for calling in. And if anybody else would like to call in, 704-873-1400. Yeah, Daniel Ricciardo going to AlphaTauri. That's going to be fun. The very first weekend that he's back is going to be a blast. I'm interested to see if Drive to Survive, if they decide to follow AlphaTauri for the first race back for Ricciardo, just because it's going to be Ricciardo back, and I think it's in March when that releases. It's going to be fun to see just how much fanfare there is with Ricciardo coming back. So I'm definitely excited to see that. Let's talk slightly about the CONCACAF Gold Cup, because we only got about 3 minutes before our next break. Team USA played Panama in the semifinals, and they lost in penalties 5-4. I don't think anybody should be paying attention. I really don't. It's not a big deal. It is what it is. We have no Pulisic, no Gio Reyna. Zimmerman's not playing on the back line. I mean, it's like we talked about a few days ago. It's their second, third, fourth team. I mean, it's nothing to worry about. Panama, for the first time, beat the USA in a knockout stage in CONCACAF competition. So that is definitely something that's good for them. And I think Team USA, they just need to work. Like I said, they just need to worry about getting ready for the World Cup in 2026, because it's our time to shine in 2026. It's gonna put the USA on the map. They already put themselves on the map last World Cup when they played England to a 0-0 draw in the group stage. Imagine, England putting together a football team, an American football team, coming over here and playing the Chiefs, and the Chiefs tie. Well, that would be embarrassing. That's basically what the USA did to England in the World Cup. They embarrassed them. So it's going to be nice to see if the USA can actually improve on that. I'm looking forward to it. I know it's 4 years away, or 3 years away, and I'm like, man, let's get to the World Cup. That's where the action's at. But like I said, losing in penalties, Panama, it was quite the accomplishment for Panama to beat Team USA. They advanced to their first Gold Cup final in 10 years. So congratulations to Panama. They will be playing in the finals. So minute before break here, I just want to mention that Christian Pulisic, Team USA player, joins AC Milan as he leaves Chelsea after being transferred. He's going to Italy to play, so that's pretty cool to play in the Serie A in Italy. So we'll see what Pulisic can do. He really wasn't getting that much playing time in Chelsea, and transfers happen all the time in soccer, so we'll see what this one ends up being. But we are coming up on our break here. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about NASCAR, because I got some sound to play from drivers ahead of the London race. There's no London race. The New Hampshire race, and we're going to see if we can squeeze in some football talk because Warren Sharp put out a very interesting stat the other day. I want to see if I have time to talk about it. So stay tuned here on the Scoreboard. This is WSIC. I'm Joe Berg, and I'll see you on the other side of the break.
Join Todd Starnes weekdays noon to 3 on your station for news and talk, WSIC.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Christmas in July is coming to downtown Mooresville. The Mooresville Downtown Commission is hosting their annual July Sales and Sip and Shop event in downtown Mooresville on July 21st. For more info, visit downtownmooresville.com. Want to meet the Iredell County Animal Service crew? Iredell County Public Library's Harmony location is hosting an Iredell County Animal Service visit July 14th from 4 to 5 in the evening. No registration is required. For more info, visit iredell.lib.nc.us. That's the Iredell County Library website. Do you enjoy making pottery? Kane Center for the Arts in Cornelius has Ceramics Open Studio. Select Tuesdays and Saturdays, you can become the clay artist you were always meant to be. You must register.
WSIC, are you calling for the Scoreboard?
I'm calling to talk to Joe. I got a question.
All right, we are at commercial. I will patch you in once we come back. You'll be the first one.
Thank you. How long?
We got about a minute and a half or so.
All right, I'll get some. How's my connection? I want to get someplace more quiet.
It sounds fine to me. A little bit of background noise, but it shouldn't be that bad.
Okay, thanks. What's your name?
My name's Joe. I'm the Scoreboard host
you are
here.
Joe. You are Joe.
That's me.
All right, Joe. You ready to talk hockey?
Oh, I'm always ready to talk hockey.
I know you are. You're an NHL guy. I know.
Oh, yes. All right, I'm going to page you down here, and I'll bring you back in.
Thanks, Joe.
Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
I'm Dan Sutton with your WSIC forecast. For tonight, we'll have a 40% chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms with a low around 72 and southwest winds around 7 miles per hour. New rainfall amounts between 1/10 and 1/4 of an inch, except higher amounts possible in thunderstorms. Friday, we'll have a 60% chance of showers and thunderstorms, mainly after 5 p.m., with a high near 90 and south winds around 7 miles per hour.
Be a part of the conversation.
We can't fix America's debt by starving its people.
Have your say.
One shooting after another, and we're doing nothing to solve it?
This is WSIC. News, talk, now. We do it all for you. WSIC. News, talk, now.
We are back with the Scoreboard here on WSIC. As always, I'm your host, Joe Berg, and it's a beautiful Thursday. I'm looking outside at the camera right now. Seems like the rain is still holding off, so that's a positive, but I'd love it to rain a little bit, maybe cool things off a little bit out there because, man, we are in July. It is hot out there, so hopefully everybody's staying cool today. I hope your AC is working. Hope your car has AC. If not, I hope you're at least driving down the highway with the windows open because it's hot. So welcome back to the Scoreboard. If you'd like to give us a call, be on the show, 704-873-1400. We do have a caller, so we're going to go ahead and take that. Thank you for calling the Scoreboard. What is your name, and what do you got for me today?
Hey, Joe, how you doing? My name is Bruce, and I was curious. I know you're an NHL guy. What do you think of the Rangers and the moves they made in the offseason with the draft and free agency, considering the limited budget that they had? How do you think Drury did in his move?
Okay, so I, myself, in my personal fandom, I am a New York Ranger fan. So this question is right up my alley, and I'm just going to start by saying I cannot believe that the Rangers brought in a goaltender who beat them in the Stanley Cup Finals. I don't like that. I don't like it one bit. I don't like Jonathan Quick.
But he was a fan.
Yes, that's true. But I think they did good for what they had. Obviously, we knew Kane wasn't going to come back. Tarasenko was going to be a major stretch. The bridge deal to Keandre Miller, leaving enough room for Lafreniere to possibly come back, and getting plenty of depth along the way. I think that with the limited space that the Rangers had, they couldn't have done a better job. I do like that Blake Wheeler's coming, a nice veteran to play with somebody on that second or third line for dirt cheap. And I mean, I'm sure Blake Wheeler still got plenty of good hockey left in him. He's only 35 years old, so he's got some hockey left in him now. It's going to be interesting to see if the Rangers can still figure something out with Lafreniere. Maybe bring Tarasenko back because he is still unsigned after it was reported that he was signing with Carolina. So it's just going to be interesting to see what that turns out to. But I like what the Rangers did, and they have a solid team. They're going to have a solid team for a while. The results that they have are probably going to ebb and flow. Like this year, they were out in the first round after going to the conference finals. But once that salary cap goes up, I'm sure just like every other team, they're going to be really happy and trying to gun for some more prospects, some more high-end players to make that cup run.
It's so hard to work within the cap. He nailed it. I hope they get Tarasenko. I love him, and he would love to play in New York, but he's got to drop his ass price. He fired his agent because he wants to play in New York, so that's a good sign. And as far as Blake Wheeler is concerned, I'll be happy if he's on the third line, not the second line. Let's get Lafreniere up on the second line. Let's get Capo Caco up on the first line.
Yep.
And make those guys, they're not kids anymore.
Exactly.
They're playing more minutes.
Exactly. And
All
it was
right,
fun.
Go.
Yep.
Go. Finish.
Yep. So all I was saying there was it was definitely fun for that first couple of years with Lafreniere and Kako and Hedl and calling them the kids and the kid line in the playoffs. But eventually you got to grow up and you got to start playing big boy minutes. So hopefully new head coach Peter Laviolette can put those guys in positions to succeed and develop a little bit more, and the Rangers will have a good year this year. But appreciate the phone.
I agree with you, Board. Have a great night.
Yep, thank you. You too. I appreciate the phone call. A little bit of Rangers talk here on the NHL offseason. We do have another phone call. Thank you for calling the Scoreboard here on WSIC. What's your name and what can I do for you today? Uh-oh. Hello. Thank you for calling the Scoreboard. You called me. Nah, you didn't call me. Well, if you'd like to call in and talk a little bit more, 704-873-1400. We got about 7 minutes left before the end of the show today. So if you have something on your mind, you better hurry up. Give me a call. Say it because, we're about to be done here. All right, I want to talk a little bit of NFL. As we went to the last break, I spoke about Warren Sharp and the interesting stat that he put on Twitter. I'm going to read that stat right now. QBs accounted for 21% of rushing touchdowns last year. In 2010, it was only 11%. Quarterbacks accounted for 16% of all rushing yards last year, the most in NFL history. If your quarterback isn't mobile, he better be brilliant and extremely accurate from the pocket. And I don't think that he missed at all with this point, because if we look at what the NFL has become, it's become a passing game with athletes throwing the ball. No longer is it Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Drew Brees standing back there just trying not to get hit and throwing it downfield. No. Now you have athletes back there who can run, who can juke. I mean, you don't even have to be the greatest runner in the world. Look at a guy like Patrick Mahomes. He's not a rushing quarterback, but he's mobile and he can move. Look at a guy like Josh Allen, one of the biggest arms in the league, but he can also run, and he's a big guy. And then you look on the other side of the table, you have somebody like Aaron Rodgers, who isn't as mobile, who kind of has to play from the pocket, especially as he's gotten older here. Last year was one of his worst years of his career when he wasn't able to be mobile. So the reason I'm bringing all this up is because I think it's going to be incredibly important for the Panthers not to put Bryce Young in situations where he has to pass or has to run. I think the perfect thing for the Panthers to do would be to game plan a scheme where it kind of like what the Eagles do with Jalen Hurts. I feel like if he had a scheme like that where, he can pass it, he'll be able to complete his passes, but, move him out of the pocket a little bit. Let him get 5-10 yards here and there. Get down, slide, protect yourself. I think it's going to be a very important asset for Bryce Young this year to be a good runner. Not only a good passer, because that is going to be very, very important for him this year. Everybody's going to be locking eyes on the number 1 overall pick, Bryce Young. How does he do week 1 in Atlanta versus the Falcons? Hopefully, and I'm going to put emphasis on hopefully, he can show some promise, use the legs that he has to at least survive week 1 because man, he is a tiny man. Coming up on NASCAR here this weekend, I want to play some sound that I have from Chase Elliott on if his team can bank on last year's speed that they had in New Hampshire.
I think just too much has changed to look back on the calendar last year and be like, yeah, we had a good run at Loudon, which we did. We had a shot at winning, and I feel like I pretty much single-handedly failed at that one. But to look at that and then to come to this year and just think that, yep, that one's going to be good because we ran good there last year, I just don't think it's reality. I think too much has changed. So I am really focused on where we are now, the things that we've been doing this year, the things that I've been working on. I think all those things that are more recent are going to apply more than what was going on a year ago.
And Chase Elliott has had success in those flat tracks. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. He had to win a race to win the championship on a flat track. So, but it's a whole new different ball game this year, especially not only for everybody else, but for Chase Elliott coming off of an injury where he broke his leg. New Hampshire's a place where you're going to have to break. I know we just came from Chicago Street Course where you had to break, and he put it on a good show, finishing in the top 5, but it's going to be a little bit of wear and tear on him here in New Hampshire. Next person we're going to hear from is Kevin Harvick, who is going to be retiring after this year. He has had quite the success at New Hampshire. So here's Harvick on how that track has been good to him in the past.
It's been our flat track stuff has been really good. Our short track stuff has always been really good. And I think as we go, this year our short track stuff is in the same category. So it's definitely a racetrack that we're looking forward to going to, and I can't wait to finally hopefully get to victory lane. It's after Nashville having the fastest car and having a tire go flat, and Phoenix and a couple of the other places where it just seems like it all hasn't come together, but they're doing a great job of putting fast cars on the racetrack. Loudon is one of those places that just checks a lot of boxes in order for us to go up there and hopefully have a good weekend.
And Kevin Harvick has had quite the success at that track in the past. Still without a win this year. It would have been nice to see him win at Atlanta in his final season where he got his first win. But that's just the way it goes sometimes. You spin out and NASCAR decides not to throw caution. But that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you everyone again for tuning in to the Scoreboard here on WSIC. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, be sure to like, subscribe, share, do whatever you got to do to make sure you are in the know on when we are broadcasting. But thank you everybody for tuning in today. My name is Joe Berg. here on the Scoreboard, News Talk WSIC. And I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place.
The new 105.9, 100.7 WSIC, Statesville, Mooresville, North Charlotte.